This is the Run Recap.
Bad in history that I still assume that they just don't actually work,
Right.
and this is
I
from
know.
like remembering from at least 10, 15 years ago,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's when I
Exactly.
chose like, oh, this is never a good option 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I've literally never used that. I forget my computer even has a camera on it.
Yeah. We have a pretty n- relatively new Mac that has. I mean, it's a super clear camera, but I always had issues when we tried this in the past. Never worked well. So, um, yeah, dude, we have. Uh, it's been a minute, obviously,
Yeah,
and
like
and
three
we
weeks
both
at least,
yeah, and we
I
both got
think.
hurt during that time
Are you
too.
still hurt?
No, I'm okay,
There's been a lot of
but it
hiccups in
was
trying to get where I'm going, and I think you've had the exact same type of situation here.
so. So last time we talked, I don't know if we talked in the podcast or not actually, but last time you and I chatted, at least I did my long Bloomsday style run. That's
Hmm.
like it's a mile short of it's 6.4 something like that
Yeah,
miles.
we both basically have the same run that we're doing to get
and
ready.
and it's a good trainer. It's got lots of it's a long hills, big hills. I've talked about that. And the second time I did it, or maybe third time I did it, like my time was decent. Like I was okay with my time. Like, and I wasn't trying to push, wasn't trying the record. I was just trying to stay light on my feet, stay
Hmm.
bouncy, and go a little bit faster, right? But not trying to like see. I wasn't trying to beat anything. It was
Right.
just like let's just push the pace a little bit and see what happens. And I hit the time, and it was like 42 or 44 minutes or something. I don't remember. And I'm like, that's not bad
Yeah.
for where I want to be at that time, a month and a half, and feeling pretty good about that run. And then we can't see. I got sick. I got a little bit sick. It was before I hurt my hip. So before I got hurt, we got a little bit of sick. We were in Spokane. I missed a week.
Hmm.
I didn't do that run, and I didn't get my normal leg workout that I usually do. Like my schedule was all off, and I went and hit that run. Not this last weekend, weekend before, and I did a further. I did the full 7.5 miles,
Hmm.
and it was terrible. It like
Oh
destroyed
no.
all of my confidence. And I wasn't trying to go fast. I'm like, I'm just gonna go real slow,
Yeah.
and just go the distance. I knew I was kind of out of it, and the entire thing was like agony. It was like pulling teeth. My legs felt heavy.
The
My
whole time.
my the whole time. There was nothing good about it. My downhills felt like I was having to hold back. I felt like I couldn't just release. Like I think I was averaging like just under 6 minute pace on the downhills.
Uh-huh.
And usually I've been good about like under 5:30, like 5:20s
Yeah.
has been like consistent. And I couldn't release. I couldn't let it go. I didn't trust my legs. It was the most discouraging run I've had in a while.
That's horrible. Do you think you had expectations of like, oh, I should be here, and then maybe pushed a little early or something like that? Or what do you think happened?
It's possible. It's possible I had some expectations because the last one had felt so good. I really think that I think my body was probably fighting a little bit of the sickness that is kind of
Right.
going around. But also I think I was just out of my consistency. I
Yeah.
didn't get the faster interval days that I usually do. I didn't get the leg day I usually do. Kind of all of those things combined
Right.
is what I think. Yeah, and then probably you're right, a little bit of expectation maybe, but I wasn't. Here's what no okay. Here's what the expectation was. I was intentionally going slow and not trying to go fast, and so I thought it was going to at least feel easy.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
Those get me
Like
all the
even
time
I
too. Yeah.
yeah I knew I was going further, and so I knew it was going to be harder in that respect. But I didn't think that like at my halfway mark I was going to feel terrible.
And
You
I
know.
get that more often than not lately, is adding a couple miles of distance and slowing down by 30 seconds per mile is a really
Hmm.
hard run, actually. If you
Yeah.
haven't been running that kind of distance at all, right? Like adding the
Yeah.
furthest you've gone in a long time is always
Yeah.
pretty significant. Well, not always. It's often pretty significant though. You know,
Yeah.
but here's
Exactly.
here's the trouble with running in general is it's exactly this is it's just not you can't predict, right? Like in the big averages we can say, oh, things happen about like this, things happen about like that, but we've had times where you've been sick and you go out and run and you're not quite better yet, and then you have the best run you've ever had, right? Or you
Yes.
have
Yes.
ones where you come off being sick, you give yourself a little more time to rest, even you're like, man, I feel great. And you go out and run and you feel like you just put on 75 pounds. And for every
Yeah.
mile is hard to move your legs for some. And why is one and the other? No idea. Like,
Yeah.
really no clue, which I think is like, I don't know. When you analyze life in general, it kind of happens that way too, doesn't it? Like, that is how life works. And then running brings it all the way down to this little like microcosm of what we actually experience in life in general, where we try to predict things. And actually, I think if you are take a step back and we look over a large amount of data, we look over the course of a year, we probably predict it pretty well most of the time, right? But how to predict how
Yeah.
tomorrow goes, or how to predict the next 10 minutes, or whatever, the more you
Hmm.
try and predict those little things, it's way worse. And then running just dials it all the way in because we feel every single piece of it. I think it's going to go about like this. I'm going to do this. And it's just not, it never is.
Yeah. No.
So,
Yeah, you'll have some days where you pop out and you're just like, whatever, I need to run, whatever,
mhm,
and it's great. You feel amazing. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm going quick and I feel light
right.
and I'm not breathing too hard. And then you have other days you're like, man, I warmed up really well. I'm feeling awesome. And the first mile is like the worst thing you've ever done.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like what happened?
And, and
Like I
sometimes
did
that first
everything I
mile
was
is
supposed to do.
horrible, and the rest of the run is also horrible. Sometimes the first mile is horrible, and all of a
Right?
sudden you're like, now I feel great. You don't know.
Yeah.
Like, and
You never
it
know.
gets better when you're in good shape versus when you're in bad, like when you're getting back into running or when you haven't been running for a long
Oh
time. Then
yeah,
it's
that's
like,
the
it's
worst.
so unpredictable. Like you have literally no idea. So
Yeah.
the better in shape you are, it's a little more consistent, but still not
Yeah.
though. I mean, I had the exact same thing. I had a great run yesterday, and I ran 9 miles yesterday,
Okay.
and took off. And so I've been focusing on my long, so it's supposed to be a long easy run, and I just take off
Hmm.
and I just pay attention to how hard I'm breathing. I'm going off intensity, not speed. So how
Yeah.
do I feel? Do I feel comfortable? If I feel comfortable, then this is the pace I'm running, and that's all I'm doing. I don't
Yeah.
look at my watch. I just go out and do it. And anyway, and I found some trails that I ran back in junior high. And okay, no, this is fun. So remember when
Okay.
we found the sandhill? Do you remember what we were looking for when we found the sandhill the first time?
Well, I remember we were on a bike ride and we were looking for jumps.
Yeah, jumps and
Yeah.
banked turns. And I knew there are trails out there with jumps and banked
Okay.
turns. And
Yeah. Yeah.
because in junior high, I went out there, our whole team went to an area like that, in that general
Yeah.
area that had a bunch of like just turns all over the place, and they were banked, and it was really fun. And we ran around them. It
Yeah.
was a blast. I found it yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh
So,
man.
so do you know where, so, the new freeway goes through, going
Right.
further north, from where the sand jumping area is.
Okay.
There's an old cemetery back in the woods off market.
Further off market.
Yeah.
If you're going south, is it to the left or the right?
So you're going down market and you go down
Yeah.
south past the road where Ducky had a head-on collision in his Volkswagen Bug.
Oh, I don't remember.
Don't know
I
the name
remember
of the
that
road.
story. I,
Anyway,
I don't remember where that is
okay.
though.
Anyway, just north of there, just before you go up the hill as you're heading towards Hilliard, and it's on the right-hand side, and there's just a sign
Okay.
there that says like back here is a cemetery, right?
Okay.
Anyway,
Gotcha.
so I ran back there because I just wanted to be off the road, and it was a beautiful day, and I thought I'm pretty sure there's trails back here somewhere. At least there's a cemetery, so I can run through that. And so I went back there, and I was running on sandy trails, and I found like all the turns, and it was like, oh, this is the
Yeah.
spot that I was looking for years ago. And people ride their motorcycles back there and stuff. So anyway,
Yeah.
so ran through deep sand through that whole section, and then ran all the way basically to Hilliard, and then hopped on the new trail by the freeway and ran back to mom and dad's house. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, and it was a great run. It was, hot out and beautiful and like all that. It was,
Yeah,
yeah, man,
that's always helpful.
yeah, it felt great. And, but anyway, yeah, just kept it casual and everything. I averaged 7:45 pace, and
That's great.
it was just really good. And actually, from yesterday's, I've been worried. I haven't done any like try to see how fast I am in quite a long time. Like I've been doing like
Yeah.
plyometric stuff, running at the gym, and
Hmm.
then just like getting in a distance run here and there. Like that's been the plan. And
Yeah.
so this one, once I hit the 7.5 mile mark, I was still again running just real comfortably, and I was looking at it like,
Hmm.
okay, 52 minutes is very doable right now for Bloomsday.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
wasn't what I ran yesterday. But I was like, with how this is feeling, this feels pretty. I'm not
Hmm.
pushing. I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, I can take this down to that for sure. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Right now, I definitely couldn't go under 52, but I think I could have. The 53 is my best Bloomsday as an adult.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
can I can beat that. 50 minutes still
Yeah.
for sure right now is impossible. There's no way I pull that off right now. But I got five
Okay.
weeks.
Yeah. Tons of time.
What do you think?
I really think 50 is doable. Like maybe not right. I like for Bloomsday. I think 50 is doable.
Yeah.
Very doable. I think it's going to hurt really bad. But I think, especially now that
It's
I've done
it's
it,
not gonna be fun.
no, now that I've done it though, I have a visual expectation.
Yeah.
That for me, that's always the hardest part of a run. Is why I hate treadmills. Is because there's nothing to go off of. There's nothing like, okay,
Right.
I got to get to there. I know, like my biggest hang up with distance running is I conserve too much energy.
Sure.
I'm worried about failure,
Yeah.
and I don't. I think I'm scarred from 400 races
Right.
where you can't finish
Yeah.
so many times, and so I'm like, don't like make sure you can finish. Make
Yeah.
sure you're not limping across
Yeah,
the
because you
edge.
do always have you got a lot in the tank at the end of a race every
Always,
time.
I
Every
always
time.
do. Even if I try hard not to, I know I do. I know
Have
I'm holding
you
on to it.
have you ever failed in a distance run?
No,
Yeah, that's what I thought. I couldn't
I've
remember
given
you
up a
ever.
lot.
Okay, but you could have kept
Yeah,
going.
for sure.
Yeah,
With the right people. I've only ever given up when I'm by myself.
sure. Yeah.
You know,
Well, and sometimes, and that's
and
like that could be 70 reasons for that, right? Where your head's just
exactly.
you just don't care
It's
anymore.
just
You know.
the run. Usually, when that happens, like I chalk up to the run one,
Right.
right? It's
Yeah.
always a mental battle. Are you going to beat the run, or is the run going to beat you? And those times, the run beat me, not because I failed, because I
Yeah.
chose to stop, right?
Right.
And so, no, in a distance run, I've never pushed myself to the point where like I physically can't go. Um, but I have in 400 races. I used to do a lot of relays in high school of the
Right.
400, and you that feeling of you coming around the third turn and you see the home stretch and you're like, okay, everything you have left, just push because everything hurts already, right?
Right.
You're already feeling done, so you're just push it, try to catch the guy in front of you, and you make it usually like it'd be like halfway down the home stretch. You make it 50 meters, you got 50 to go,
Yeah.
and then nothing happens anymore. And you're
Yeah.
like, my body stops. And like somehow you limp across the end. But like, I hate that feeling so much that
Yeah. Your legs move in
I,
slow motion. Like it can be so
yeah.
rough.
And so having the visual markers for me on a run, like a Bloomsday, where it's a long run, it's like, okay, I know this is next. I know this is next. Okay, I'm going to mentally conserve energy for this thing,
Right.
right? I know that these hills are going to feel like this. I think that's a big part of it for me. And so I think 50 is doable.
Hmm.
Not fun, but doable.
Maybe we'll find fun in it, or
Oh, well, you were doing it
meet some
together, so
friends along the way.
it's going to be fun. I'm going to talk a whole ton of shit the whole time. That's my plan.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
to me and to you.
Yeah.
And I'll probably complain at the same time.
Yeah. You gotta
Um,
complain. We've never
but
ran distance before without complaining.
yeah, I'm gonna try to maybe chat it up with whoever we're passing at the
Uh
time.
huh.
Figure out some fun encouragement, to yell at people as we go. That'll keep my mind in the game.
Yeah. You know what's gonna be really nice about this though is so usually you take off on a run where you're gonna be on a distance run like this on this type of distance and you're gonna and you want to push your speed and
Mhm.
And you have to take off fast. Like that's the only way to
Yeah.
make it. Where like this race is going to be that. If we don't run the first 2, 3
Right.
miles at a really good speed, it's just over right there.
Yeah.
And
Right. Yeah.
in regular runs, the anxiety of that, or feeling like, oh, if I do my first half mile wrong, it's all done.
Hmm.
The
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the great thing about Bloomsday is the energy around it, and the fact that we get to start like the first mile is great for that because
Yes,
the
it is.
energy of the people, you're passing people nonstop, right? And that helps
Hmm.
keep you feeling like, oh, I'm feeling good, right? It helps keep your stride up. And you're
Exactly.
like, and you kind of have to slow down real quick to get around this person, then you get to pick it right back up again. And that kind of, as much as that is actually wasting energy, but it's so good for the brain, right? You get through that and you're
Yes,
like, yeah, I
exactly.
feel quick. I feel people going by me. It feels all really cool there. And then when you drop right into that downhill where we can run
Yeah,
low 5 minute pace and be recovering
exactly.
because that's such a great
Exactly.
hill. Like, and you get to like just fly by people down that hill.
How long is that hill, that downhill?
It's gotta be a third of a mile.
Okay, so that's wait, no, a third. Yeah, yeah, okay. Because
Yeah.
that's what I found is I have two big downhills on my current run, and the one on the way back, which is at mile um 4. Yeah, it's around mile four and a half. It's 3/4 of a mile.
Oh, okay. That's a long
And so
downhill.
it's a long downhill,
Nice.
and by the time I'm done at the end, I'm not resting. Like
Yeah.
I'm done. The
Yeah.
first half of it, it's like, yeah, I'm cruising, I'm good.
Right.
And I get to the bottom and I'm like, I'm praying for a stoplight. Right?
Totally.
I'm like, can it time out so I can rest? Like I'm done with this run.
Right.
I'm done with this pace. I can't keep this up that much
Well,
longer,
and what are you
right?
feeling? So
And,
when you're going, when about do you feel like so when you're running down a hill and you feel like
mhm,
immediately and you lock into that faster pace and
yeah.
then you calm down and let your legs go, right?
Hmm.
And then you can feel yourself actually relax and start to recover, but then it changes. Where about the hill do you feel like, oh, now I'm actually working to keep this going?
Yeah, it obviously depends on the run, but I found usually it's around the half a mile,
Mm-hmm.
around half a mile of a steep grade where you are running like we're because I think that the big difference is you're not just letting yourself go like letting yourself go down a hill is going to depend on how steep the hill is, right?
Totally.
So you could
Yeah.
because I have another the my first downhill of my run at around 2 miles is two different grades. The first one's really steep where like yeah, just letting my body go is 520 or
Mm-hmm.
so.
Mm-hmm.
The second half of it, letting my body go is like 6,
Right.
right?
Sure.
It's not as steep of a hill. And so the one coming back, letting myself go at more than half of the mile is low fives.
Yeah.
And so it's just really fast the whole time. So I
Mm-hmm.
found that, yeah, at about, it has this little short flatten out area. So it flattens out for just a second and then it continues at around half a mile. And I found going back to the down after the flat is really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Like it, because I don't try to keep the pace on the flat. Like it's long enough that like I slow down to whatever feels natural,
Sure.
and then I let myself go on the second half. And when I go on the second half, I get like halfway down that section, I'm like, I'm dying. And even if you look at my heart rate too, like my heart rate's
Yeah.
starting to go up again. It's not at 140s, it's back up to 55 and hitting 60, and it's struggling again.
Well, I think we trick ourselves with the downhills being easy. Like that whole, the thing, right? Like, when you on the flats or run uphills. Okay, you should go faster on the uphills. You're trained for the uphills, right? We train for
Yeah,
uphills. You're
right.
better than everybody. You go faster on the uphills, no problem, right?
Exactly.
Okay, flats. That's
Yes.
way easier than uphill. You already trained for uphill, so flats are you go faster on the flats, right? Downhill, you're not even running, right? You fall down the hill.
No.
Faster is actually
Yeah.
easier. Yeah, go faster down the hills, right? Yeah, of course. And
Yeah.
obviously, this whole thing's a mind game, right?
Yeah.
And
Obviously.
but I think that we get tricked on the downhills even more so to be like, no, but on the downhills it's actually true, right? Like you're literally not working, And but the
Yeah.
truth is, getting your legs to come back forward quickly is work. Like it
Yeah,
really actually is. Running fast down a hill, as much as
it
we
is still his
pretend
work.
there's nothing there. But yeah, I'm with you where you hit like, okay, I can go for, depending, well, it depends what shape I'm in, right? Sometimes it's immediate.
Exactly.
But yeah, if I'm trained for my downhills pretty good, it still hits about like maybe 3 minutes before all of a sudden, like, I'm actually
Yeah,
breathing really hard. Because
yeah.
I'm actually
Well, and
trying
that's
to get my legs
what.
to move this quickly is actually a lot of work.
Yeah, and that's what hit me last year when because I leading up to Bloomsday, I did a lot of uphills. I did the well, not a lot. I did some. I did a couple hills.
Yeah.
But hills and stairs are often in my routine anyway,
And
right?
you lift a
Doing
lot. Like there's that
yeah,
movement
exactly.
is something
So
you're very well trained for.
the duration of the hill is what got me. And like in
Hmm.
Bloomsday, it has a lot of just like gradual hills and that kind of
Sure.
stuff, even before Doomsday Hill. But the downhill really did get me. Like I remember it was fine going down because we were dodging and chasing and whatever. But
Hmm.
then once it flattened out, even at the end of the hill, and then when it flattened out for sure, like my quads were like hard.
Yeah.
Like they were like I'm like, oh shoot, this is not what I'm used to doing because I hadn't trained any
Well, because it
downhills
was
at
right
all.
around the cemetery where you're like, I don't know what I got
Yeah.
left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
And
I'm
it
like,
was,
oh,
yeah, that
geez.
beat you pretty good. Yeah. And it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's jarring. It really can be.
But now having done even just some, now I'm like, oh, no problem. Like downhills, yeah. Now I
Yeah.
can actually because I had to let you go after the falls at SFCC, and then there's that downhill before the bridge.
Hmm.
Then you go Doomsday. You're gonna go down the hill, like treat it like a hill. Go and
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know that I can.
Right.
Like I don't know that they'll support me doing this. Like,
Yeah.
and I was scared of Doomsday Hill a little bit.
Well,
But
nice that
like,
you got that done because Doomsday Hill's talked up so much. It's just not actually that
yeah,
hard. It's so
right,
consistent and it's not actually that
yeah,
steep that if you just find your right pace, it's not that
yeah,
tough. You just got to fall into it and hug the right. Nobody does it. Everyone
right,
stays.
yeah,
Actually, it's the funniest thing about watching Bloomsday. Everyone runs Bloomsday
yeah,
like they're a car. You ever notice that?
right.
They stay where the lanes
Uh,
are on the right side of the street. Like they don't cut the corners at all.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't notice that last
So
time.
Doomsday
The
turns to the right, and there's a walking path on the right side, and no one jumps up onto it. And so you can cut that
yeah,
corner way shorter just by get off the road and run the path. So,
yeah. I remember watching you running over there because I was
yeah,
still kind of on the road.
yeah,
Um, the only thing that gets me about Doomsday Hill is purely the placement of it. Like you just have a huge run before it with
sure,
a lot of gradual hills, and then you got to run a last big hill, right? So it's like I
yeah,
feel like it's daunting in that respect.
sure,
Not necessarily the duration or the incline of it. It's just like I've already done a lot of stuff, and now I got to run a big hill,
right, yeah,
again.
absolutely,
But yeah, now I feel like being able to actually conserve and build up time on those downhills now that I've been training for them feels a lot better. That being said, I haven't run this week as much as I was really hoping
yeah.
to.
I mean, mine's been I've been a little off lately too, like not near to the degree. I Yeah. Well, have you, okay, have I filled you in on, I don't think I've talked about it here yet. So, of course, I've been using AI as a trainer, right? Like in general.
Oh, really?
Oh, so, okay. Well, more than that. So I had it like make my workout plan for me because I could
Okay.
tell it more specifically. Here's what I've done. Here's what my history is. Here's all the other
Yeah.
workouts I'm currently doing. This is my week actually looks like. Okay, now
Yeah.
make a plan and let me know, is this feasible to even do what I'm trying to do?
Yeah.
And then as I'm going along, I keep having to redo it. So I keep going through like, okay, it's been 2 weeks. These were the 2 speed days that you had set for me. I couldn't pull it off. I was here. Okay,
Hmm.
now we got to rework this. Let's make a plan that I can actually accomplish.
Yeah.
And so AI already told me that this is before I actually made my trainer. Actually, I'm pretty excited about this. So AI already
Okay.
told me that like 48 minutes, let's not keep training for that. Like it's not good to do. Like you're not hitting those speed goals. Basically you are just failing every time. And so that's not going to
Yeah.
get you there. So
Okay.
let's aim at something different than that. And so anyway, so it
Yeah.
said basically 50 looks very feasible.
Okay.
But basically I'm training more at like the 52 minute is what I'm training at. And it basically told me
Okay.
like, maybe you're excited enough on race day and let's hope that works. So it essentially told that
Gotcha.
like, hey, you'll get some hype around race day. Maybe that gets you faster than what you've been able to pull off. But on your current
Yeah.
trajectory, like 48 is just not possible. So
Gotcha.
Anyway, which was nice to like, okay, rather than just failing at this paper plan I have written over and over again, it's just week by week redoing it. But
Right.
here's the best thing. So with AI in general, when you're just talking to AI itself,
Hmm.
you get, it's pre-programmed, bent on whatever it is, but you can
Right.
tell it to communicate to you like something else, right?
Of course.
So I made a coach.
Okay.
So I took coaches that there's enough
Hmm.
written about the AI could know who they are. So I've
Okay.
got Grandpa, Bill Bowerman, and Pat Tyson. There's enough written about all
Okay.
three of them. I said, put those three coaches together, and I want you to
Yeah.
speak in the voice of Pat Tyson. Do you know enough to do that? I said, yeah. Okay. And then, so when I talk to you, so now I'm going to call you Tyson. If it's when I say
Yeah.
that, I'm talking to my running coach, and I want you to communicate
Okay.
like Tyson, and that's how we're going to do the plan now. Is I'm just going to talk to you like that, and it's working
Okay.
really, really well.
So do you have the like the voice activation feature on it all the time?
Oh, so I do this. It's just in typing. It's just using that voice, that style of communicating.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
not
Okay.
so voice. It
I see.
can't mimic Tyson's voice. Obviously, it doesn't know that,
Right.
but it
Okay.
doesn't have enough written about it to know the style of communication. And so,
Okay.
so it works like a coach like that, and it's working really well for me.
Okay. And what in what ways? Expand on that. Let me hear.
So basically, that I have someone I can sit there and bounce ideas off of, right? I can just
Hmm.
say, "Hey, today kind of went like this," or "I'm feeling like this today." Here's the plan, but I'm feeling like this today. I'd kind of like to work towards this. Is that a good idea? Bad idea? How would you tweak that? Like leaving all that, and
Yeah.
it can take that complex of an idea, like I've got an actual coach sitting there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk practically. So
Mhm.
how have you changed your running plans then? Like what actually has shifted?
So I have my overall plan, but then I'm dialing it into how I feel that day.
Okay.
So for instance, like, okay, I didn't recover. I had that workout yesterday or 2 days ago. I haven't really recovered enough. I'm feeling like this. What would you recommend?
Mm,
And then it can take, okay, here's the plan. Let's adjust this. Now let's do this a little bit different because of how you're feeling right there. Or, you decided to actually max on the leg lift for some reason 2 days ago. So now we're going to do something different. So anyway, so no, it's been great for things like that where I can fine tune it daily instead of just again
yeah.
staying like, oh, it's Tuesday, so I do this.
Interesting. What yeah, so it's just more about it just switching up on the fly and be able to adapt to what you're feeling in the moment, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Um had the runs that were planned out, have those shifted dramatically then?
Not
Since it told you to abandon the 48?
Oh yeah, so that basically we just set very different plans for yeah, so when I banded the 48 minute, basically it just
Hmm.
reworked it like, okay, here's what it's going to look like for 50. So instead of doing intervals at um you know 5:45 pace where I knew that like, oh, I
Yeah,
can't do that many intervals at that pace. It then changed my
right.
intervals to either we're doing less intervals at that pace or we're doing just as many intervals at a slower pace. So just putting it
Gotcha.
into like this is what I actually can do, or this is what's a stretch
Hmm.
for me, rather than hitting like, oh, this isn't going to be even be close. So
Yeah,
why do it? Just
gotcha.
there's no reason to like fail by 50%. Like I only get half the workout
Right,
done. Well, that's not doing
right.
anything good. So instead, we might hit
Yeah,
failure. We're going to hit failure at 90% or something like that.
yeah,
So it's actually at least I'm in the vicinity of things working right.
right. Totally. The I remember the thing I forgot about the run I went on last week, that big long one, was that my watch stopped at mile 5. I
Oh,
looked down and it's like logo, like Garmin logo on it. Like it was, I don't know what it was doing. Like the music stopped and like turned on. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So like hit a button and it like stopped my run and like started restarting my watch.
uh-huh.
And then I had to like restart my run. Luckily, it just continued. Like so, it remembered where it was doing.
Right,
There's just like, but there's a gap. So I was looking when I was home. I'm like, okay, what was my actual pacing? What was everything going on? I only ran 6.8,
right.
but I'm like, but no, I did the whole run. I know I
Yeah.
know I did it. So I have this like really inaccurate information from the run. Um, but then yesterday I did. Oh no, 2 days ago we were texting about this. It's beautiful over here. Well, it was.
Yeah.
It's not today. It's beautiful over here. It's nice and warm, and I forgot because I brought my running shoes home over the weekend, even though I didn't run. Usually I leave my a pair at the gym, so I don't have to think about
Hmm.
it. And it was a sunny day, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go run outside. It's been like a little while. I was a little sick over the weekend, so I didn't do a long run. And I didn't have my running shoes. I just have my Vivo barefoot flat
Right.
shoes. So I hopped on our assault treadmills, the ones with no motor, they're a little curved,
Hmm.
because you have to run on your toes on that to make it go
Hmm.
well. If you ran on your heel on these things, you're going to destroy yourself. And so they kind of promote natural toe running anyway, which is
Sure.
why I like them for sprints.
Yeah.
And so I tried to do the 2 minute on, 1 minute off intervals at under six. I was trying to go for like 540 or something like that. It didn't go well.
Yeah.
I did five of them, and I would say they were probably mostly at 6:10.
Well, and
Like I
540
just
pace for
could
two
not get
minutes.
down.
That is, it's moving.
But I just felt like I could do it.
Yeah.
I felt like I take the first couple steps, especially on those. It's like, oh, at 5:30, 5:40. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good. I got this. And I look down,
Right.
like it's like over six. I'm like, oh shoot. Especially because there's no motor, so you have to
Yeah.
intentionally keep the pace,
Totally.
right? Oh, that would kill me. But the intervals, like you're talking about trying to hit those fast times 5:45 for intervals. How
Hmm.
long were you trying to do those for?
Oh, geez, I haven't done them for a couple weeks actually, so I don't remember what. But we were doing, I did some ladders the other day, so we just went from
Hmm.
like, started at 7:30 pace, moved all the way down to 4:40 pace, and then back
Yeah,
up. So
yeah.
we did that, but obviously the 4:40 pace was for 30 seconds. And
Okay, gotcha.
yeah, so anyway, so I've done several of those. I haven't done, it's been like, I think it's been 2 weeks since I've done like straight, like certain amount of time off. But I did
Hmm.
do, let's see, I think the last one I did, I think was 1 minute on, I think I did 1 minute, 1 minute. And that,
Okay, yeah,
and did that real fast and felt pretty
yeah.
good. Yeah. No, so yeah, I did 10 minutes. I think it was a minute on, minute off. Might have been a minute 30, something like that. I definitely didn't do two
Okay.
minutes sub six.
Yeah.
I think we did one of those. I think I did one of those like a month ago, and it was brutal, but I
Hmm.
had to bail on it. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I had
I think
one
we
with
talked about
shorter.
that one.
Yeah, but I had one with shorter ones a couple weeks ago that went pretty well.
Yeah. I was trying to do the 8 rounds of 2 minute on, 1 minute off
Hmm.
at 5:30. And this is before we came to Spokane. I don't think we talked about this on here. And it felt good. It felt really great. I made it through four and I had a client come in. So
Yeah.
I show them around, do a couple things, and then I'm like, well, it popped back on, and I did the rest of them, and it was so kind of disappointing because it felt really easy, even
Yeah.
though I had a big gap in the middle, but like it still was like, oh shoot, like that was just. I wish I could have done the whole thing to see if I could have maintained for all eight.
Yeah.
I didn't have time, right, to finish to do another set of four after that, right?
Right.
I didn't have time to do eight more. Um, but man, it felt so good. And now thinking about that, I'm like, oh, I can't do that right now.
Right.
I feel so out of shape at the moment. It's really frustrating.
When you're doing those intervals, if you lose momentum, like when it's working, like once you
Yeah,
click into like, okay, I've just become the machine, right? Like now
yeah,
I just do this, like, and then if you lose momentum of that, then it's like, oh no, now there's no way you do that. Because entering into that space of I'm no longer even me anymore. I
yeah.
just do. I'm a
I
machine that just does this, and that's all there is, and nothing else exists. If you can stay in that space, it works. But if you fall out of that space, you
yeah,
can't get back into there. No, you're done.
no, dude. I've even had ones where like you like depending on the treadmill, I accidentally hit the stop button. Right, because
Oh
ours
yeah,
is kind of like a big button right there. So like, if you get close on accident, your hand will just like smack it.
right.
And I have had some interval workouts where I hit the stop button. And I'm like, well, that's it.
Yeah.
Like there's no starting back up. Like
Hmm.
I'm done. I had two more to go, and I'm like, nope, I'm done. Or like you think you're okay, so you like, oh, quickly start back up, hit the time, and you start going, and you're like, nah, I lost it.
Yeah.
Like it's just mentally, it's not there anymore. I can't do it.
So a thing that's been
Um.
great with the weather getting good though is getting off the darn treadmill.
Oh my gosh,
Because
seriously.
I on a treadmill, breathing hard is so like there's a difference in how you feel, how you're breathing hard. So I'm running on the treadmill. I think it's just the stagnant air and just all of that. But I'm running, I'm like, oh man, I feel like I'm really pushing. I'm not gonna be able to do this much longer. And
Mm.
feeling like I'm actually kind of pushing a run. And I'm looking, I'm not actually going that fast even, like why is this feeling like that? And then I go outside and I've noticed like immediately as soon as I ran outside was like, oh, I actually run at that kind of breathing on a casual run. And outside, it
Yeah.
feels comfortable. I'm just relaxed actually, and I'm breathing just as hard as where I thought I was going to die the other day in the gym. And I'm breathing the
Yeah.
same exact cadence as what I was just doing. Like I was paying attention to the literal cadence of the breathing. Exactly the same. Like this is a casual run outside. It's killing me inside. And I do think it's that like the air just isn't moving by you, and there's no distraction. There's you're nothing interesting to
Yeah.
look at, and yeah, just and I was feeling when we were doing so much treadmill running, I was feeling like, oh, this goal that I have is just not gonna happen. Like I can run fast in intervals, and then I have to run
Hmm.
really slow, but I can't seem to run at a decent pace for any amount of distance right now at all. And it had nothing to do with the
Yeah.
shape I was in. It had all to do with that. No, it's just miserable in here. I go outside and do it just
What
fine.
I can relate to that. What the breath doesn't get me, and maybe it's just because I don't know years of doing so much
You
treadmill
have done a lot.
work and being in a gym. Like I'm fine with it. What does get me is my form, my placement, my foot placement. Like
Mm-hmm.
because treadmills, if I run how I should run and how I feel best, it's loud.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And
true.
because it's just a hard slap. I'm trying to hit midfoot, and it's just a slap every time. It's not. It is. I with loud music, I can hear it.
Yeah.
That like how loud I'm running, and it just drives me nuts. And so I know that my form and my posture is wrong
Yeah.
on a treadmill, at least not optimal, right? And so for me, that's what kills me. And I go run outside, I'm like, oh, this feels so comfortable.
Yeah.
My foot's hitting where it's supposed to be. I'm pushing how I'm supposed to. And on a treadmill, it's just like slap, slap, slap. Or it's
Yeah.
like a lot too much heel strike, and no matter what pace I'm going at, that's what kills me. It's just that it changes my running form. I don't like that.
Should we should probably rename the podcast over the winter of just what's wrong with treadmill running.
I know.
We just-
It's just Mike and David complaining about treadmills for
Rather
three
than having this
months.
be like
4 months.
75% of what we talk about, let's just do 100%. Like we're all in. Okay, here we're just gonna talk. We're just gonna complain about treadmill. That's it.
Oh my gosh, I know. Okay, well, getting good point. Getting away from that,
We can keep going.
tell me
I'm all
about.
in here.
Now we should probably give Phil a break. Tell me about hurting your back. What happened?
Oh, so no, I hurt my hip flexor.
Oh, your hip. That's right, hip
Yeah.
flexor.
In the
I hurt my back. You hurt your hip
okay,
flexor.
in the stupidest possible. This is
I know.
so frustrating. So I go up snowboarding. First of all, I am stoked to go up snowboarding because it just dumped like
Yeah,
9 inches overnight. I haven't really had a powder day this year. Like it's gonna be awesome. Snow level's supposed to be
yeah,
sitting like 500 feet below the lodge. So anyway, yeah, it might be a little warm or whatever, but it should be fine. Anyway,
yeah.
so I get up there and walking just from the car to the lodge, it was like I just got drenched. Like already, this is just wet as can be. But like, okay,
Oh
if we
no.
get up high, first of all, it did snow a whole bunch. So it's got to at least be soft. So it's going to be fun.
Okay.
And if I
Yeah.
get up
Yeah.
higher, it should be totally fine, right? So
Is it coming down?
yeah, a bit. And it's just wet out. Like immediately, I got to the
Okay.
parking lot. I'm like, oh crap, I should just go home. What
So
is?
so in the parking lot, it's raining.
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
full on.
Okay.
Yeah, the snow is completely
Okay.
clear. Yeah, there's no white to the snow that's coming from the sky at all.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Okay.
anyway, so we get through and then like, we even cancel clinic and stuff, like we need to just stay dry. Like this is anyway. So nine
Yeah.
o'clock hits. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go to the top of the mountain and I'm gonna find something soft and ride through. And it just
Yeah.
kind of gets worse. And at least like the rain
Uh,
stopped falling from the sky. So we got up there and it was like, okay, it's better in that way. But it clearly rained overnight and then frozen too. And so so it's just this
uh.
heavy chunk of just crap that you can't really turn in. And it just went from like, I'm so stoked for this to be the, oh, and the day before was like, they got a sunny powder day and it was just a great day, and so
Oh my
anyway,
gosh.
so I get up there and I start riding through and I got, okay, maybe if I jump in the trees, because sometimes like, okay, the water didn't fall under the trees and then that didn't
Right.
freeze. So maybe that's fine. Hopped in there and now like I can't turn, but now I'm in trees. Like that's worse. And so that was horrible. Hopped out and like, oh, this just is like just awful. So I'm just casually riding down and like I'm done for sure. And I get down and I get all the way
Yeah.
down to like the Bunny Hill Park. And like, okay, it's a rainy day. I can at least like just jump on a box, right? So I go in.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
heading up to the first box switch. I'm just gonna do a a switch 180 onto the thing, right? I go to
Yeah.
jump and the back of my board was so heavy that lifting then my right leg was so heavy, and but I'm jumping on the box, so I have to complete whatever rotation I just started. Like it has to happen, or I'm gonna face plant onto the box, right? So I just yank my leg as hard as I can, and I feel
Oh my
the
gosh.
teeniest little strand in my hip flexor. Like,
Yeah.
like just teeny. It wasn't my whole hip. I've pulled my whole hip flexor. I've pulled, all kinds of things in there, but it was a very minute, teeny little point that just was
Oh,
excruciating. Like it,
oh
like
no.
just ripped something in there. I got my leg around and I got onto the box and it worked okay. And then I like just stood there and aimed all the way to go inside.
Yeah.
Like couldn't walk right or anything. It was so painful. It took
Oh my God.
the rest of that day. I was in a lot of pain for the rest of that day, and then it pretty quickly
Yeah.
healed. Like it was such a teeny part that I hurt that it healed
Yeah.
up pretty quick. Probably took 4 days before. Well, really, it took a full week before I couldn't feel it at all. Like it's totally fine now,
Hmm.
but it was a full week before I couldn't feel it. But I was back to being able to basically do things. Like
Okay.
3 days later, I was still had to kind of take a little. I'd run, and you're like, oh, okay, well, that's still there, But in my day to
Yeah.
day, it was
Right.
totally fine. But
Oh
the
man.
amount it hurt when it happened was like, oh, this might be actually pretty serious. Like I don't know if I really tore
Yeah.
something or not, but it was that kind of pain. But
Straining hip flexors is the worst. I
oh, it's
hate
such
that
an
feeling.
awful spot. And in hip flexors, it doesn't necessarily hurt all the time, right? Unless you engage it,
Hmm.
it's just hanging out.
Right.
But when you do engage it, that's the whole thing. Like the hip flexor, I might be wrong in this, but it looks to me like your hip flexor is the thing that moves your entire leg forward. In that
It
teeny little
is.
spot, your leg
Yeah.
doesn't come forward. That teeny spot basically doing the whole thing.
Yeah. It's got to do a lot of work. It's
Right?
got to do a lot of
It's like,
work.
I started thinking about it, that's a lot of stress to put on a very small part of your body, for
Yeah.
such an important activity to do.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, and then I mean, for me, my issue was always that like they would take over with like a lot of core exercises and stuff. Because well, a lot of core exercises are actually hip flexor exercises
Sure.
that
Yeah, I can see
people
that.
think are core exercises, right?
Hmm.
And so, or not core because that is part of your core technically, but it's
Yeah.
like they think it's an ab exercise when it's like it's not
Right.
an ab exercise. It's kind of just like for instance, like a leg lift. If you're laying on your back and you're like your hands under your butt and you're doing a leg lift,
Right.
the amount of abs involved in that versus hip flexor is very skewed to hip flexor.
Yeah.
Your hip flexors are bringing your legs up and down, and your abs are stabilizing. Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of all that's happening. You know?
Well, and like this is something that I think you've told me for a long time. I don't think I've really understood, but you've taught me this all the time. Is it really? I've started to find that the more I don't focus on trying to work. I mean, those 6 or 8. It's 8 muscles there actually, right? Right, and like right in front, your abs.
Mm, I don't know actually.
I'd say one, two,
I don't.
three.
I mean, there's 6 for sure.
Yeah,
I
and then
mean,
the
yeah, it
lower
depends
ones.
how you think about it. Your rectus
Anyway,
abdominis has. Yeah, all right, good.
but those are split. Yeah.
Doesn't
Anyway,
matter.
so you have those muscles there, and obviously they're cool looking muscles, right? Like that's what
Yeah,
we see, and
right.
and you do see like, oh, the more you can see those, the better shape the person's in. Is just kind of how
Often,
we as
yeah,
humans often just think of things. Um,
yeah.
but if I stop focusing on working out those darn muscles, those muscles
Hmm.
actually start to look better and are in better shape. If I focus on working out everything around it,
Yeah.
things tend to work better.
Well,
Like work on my
yeah,
core, think about my core as my core rather than thinking about like, oh,
like,
I'm going to engage these, like, oh
yeah,
no, like, no, work the whole thing more well rounded. I've been working on that for a while now, and
yeah.
everything seems to work way better.
Well, and that's obviously a huge like problem that a lot of people run into, or and I guess in some ways misconception is like your abs, what people view as your abs is not your core, right?
Right.
It's what we just talked about. Your rectus abdominis is that 6 pack, or maybe they'll incorporate the obliques by your
Right.
rib cage, right? And that's what we view as core. But it's like the reality is your core is from like the top of your thigh up to your rib cage, right?
Hmm.
That's your core. That's what's everything. So it involves part of your hip flexor, part of your glute, and your psoas and all these things. And but if you want your abs to look good, right? Just aesthetically, you got to do ab exercises at some
Sure.
point, right? And like that's how people like you and me, we can still have a six pack with even higher body fat content than some other people's because we've done a ton of ab exercises, and so they got a little larger, and so it takes more fat to go on top of them before they
Sure.
disappear, right? So I can be very out of shape, especially for me, and still have a six pack, right? And same goes for you most of the time. But if you want your core to work well, then you do stabilizing exercises.
Yeah.
You do planks and you do farmer's carries and you do squats and you do jumping and you move around
Uh-huh.
in all planes of motion while keeping it tight and focusing on that stability. That's how your core is tight.
And as you
But
as
that's
you
not how your
engage,
abs stay tight,
as I
right?
engage all of that, it all works. But like I've been doing some kettlebell stuff, like just moving things around all over the
Yeah.
place, right? And
Mm-hmm.
as I'm doing
Yeah.
all of that, where you just like, no, I'm keeping my. And then I started, and I heard a thing the other day of like that when you're lifting, most exercises are core exercises if you're doing it
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
should
Absolutely.
you really spend that much time working on just that, or should you just make sure you're working on that all the time, right? So, because
Yeah.
everything else I
Exactly.
lift, if I'm doing it right, I actually am totally engaging my core and
Yeah.
working that out.
Well, and then the other problem is for me, because when we get into the stuff, I get real picky
Yeah.
on technique and how to engage. And so when you get into certain ab exercises or even broader to core exercises, a lot of people just aren't engaging correctly. I
Mm-hmm.
see I see my clients go to PTs and go to very specific people to rehab something or reset a structure or something, and they're showing me their corrective exercise. They're doing like a dead bug, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, well, you're not doing it right. Like that's just wrong. Like your
Yeah.
technique is wrong. Your focus is wrong. Yes, you're doing the movement correctly, but your awareness of what your abdominals and how your core is engaged is completely wrong. Like I can visually see that it's wrong. Like because
Sure.
you're I can see that your focus is not here, and so a lot of people are just teaching. And again, when we get this into core, I get real I get real passionate about it and real specific on how exactly it should be done because if you're not doing it right, then what's the point of doing it? And I spent a lot of years doing it completely wrong without the right focus. And so like having to retrain how things engage and how things pull takes a lot of work and is the source of a lot of people's issues, a lot of people's back issues, a lot of
Right.
people that say they can't run or can't lift or can't do all these things. Like, well, just switch up your engagement a little bit and it's very simple, it's very
Mm-hmm.
easy, but it takes a lot of like changing your running form. It takes a lot of awareness on the daily
Right.
basis of like, oh, here, oh, it's this little switch there, okay, that's what I need to be doing
Mm-hmm.
all the time, right? And if you don't have that constant awareness of it and don't want to, then you're just not going to fix it, it's
Right.
like, sorry, I'm on a tangent, but it's like fixing abdominal diastasis. So for pregnant women, when their belly starts to expand, their abdominals separate. Right. Every
Mm-hmm.
single woman, almost without question, gets abdominal
Right.
diastasis. Their stomach muscles separate. A lot of women that goes right back naturally. Right. It doesn't have to stay. So what we consider abdominal diastasis is postpartum women that still have a separation.
Right.
Usually of like one to sometimes like four fingers. It can be really wide. And I've coached a lot of women in rehabbing this, and I get the question often of like, well, how long is it going to take? I'm like, it will take as long as it takes. It depends on how much energy you put into it, because it takes exactly what we're describing, a lot of awareness of like,
Mm-hmm.
here's how I need to pull and then retrain my body to keep, right, and to stay engaged the entire time. And it's like you can't do 5 minutes of it in the morning or 10 minutes of it in the morning and be like, okay, that's enough. I did my
Sure.
exercises. Like, no, this is like an all day awareness type of thing. It's like fixing posture, right? It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
take like, if I have rounded shoulders, I'm going to fix my posture. You don't just do like, oh, I did some band tears and I did a stretch and now I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, you need to aware of your bad posture all day long
Yeah.
and you're reminding yourself on how to fix it. When I was sorry, when I was 11, we were going to Europe, and I remember there was somebody in the church in Puyallup, some older guy. I don't older guy. He's like 30 probably, who was taller and he had very rounded shoulders,
Hmm.
right? And he had kind of bad posture. And I remember thinking when I was around 11, I'm like, oh, I don't like that. And I saw myself in the mirror one time, and I'm like, oh, I'm starting to do that,
Right.
right? It was kind of before my big growth spurt, but I was starting to grow a little bit. I'm like, oh, my shoulders are all rounded. So the entire trip to Slovakia from Puyallup, which was what, like a day and a half thing.
Yeah.
Um, I had a very heavy backpack because we had everything we owned in our bags, and I put the backpack to the edge of my shoulders, and so it wouldn't have to pull my shoulders back.
Right.
And I carried that for 2 days basically. And so that I would have a constant reminder of like, don't slouch, don't pull my shoulders forward. And since that day, it's at least always been in my head of like, nope, like don't hunch forward,
Yeah.
pull back. But it takes that type of an awareness to fix something like
I
that.
had
And
a
that's as a
similar
kid
I had a
before it's like
similar thing
ingrained,
happen
right?
around that age too, as I started to notice that oftentimes the difference of someone looking like they're in shape or not often had to be with how they stood.
Hmm.
And that was
Right.
about it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, if you're just
Yeah.
upright and like, and it also just shows confidence and it shows like all these, and I
Hmm.
remember noticing that, yeah, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there of like, oh,
Yeah.
there's a difference there with just how people hold themselves. And if I just hold
Hmm.
myself better, that will help a lot of different things. And
Yeah.
especially I know, it seems like people, when they go through a quick growth spurt, that
Mm.
it's normal for that to happen. And I think sometimes
Yeah.
psychologically, like I think it sometimes is, oh, I feel kind of weird because I'm suddenly 6 inches taller than I was a couple months
Right.
ago. And so I just feel weird
Yeah.
about that. And I think you try and make yourself
Yeah.
small. And I watch,
Hmm.
because tall guys, I mean, tall, skinny guys is very notorious for that.
Yeah.
And
Right.
knowing people that have gone through that, I know that like, yeah, I knew him at 12 years old. It felt weird for him. And,
Yeah.
and you definitely were a prime candidate
Yeah.
for that because you went from real
Right.
short to real tall in like 6 months. So,
Yeah, it was 9 inches in 6 months
right.
basically, and so I'm thankful that I had that awareness
Hmm.
before that happened, before I went through my big spurt of like oh, let's work my posture now,
Yeah.
so I don't do that. But uh, coming back, core, yeah, it's important to do it right, but it's also hard to fix, hard to
Right.
like change your habits that you've been engaging since you were a kid, especially if you did sports and you're not going to do it right, you're just going to do a ton of crunches,
Yeah,
right?
because you have a coach telling 100 kids all to like do this activity, and no one can go around all the
Yeah,
kids to make sure they're all doing. You can't. You just don't have that
no,
ability to do it in that setting to make sure everyone's doing
no.
everything right. And
And most coaches are coaches,
mhm.
they're not like sports exercise experts, they're a coach.
Yep.
It's like one of the better coaches I had in pole vaulting knew nothing about pole vaulting.
Right.
But he's a real good coach,
Hmm.
like, and that's what, and we knew it. We knew it going into it. We knew he wasn't a pole vault coach, and like I knew it way more than he did about pole vaulting. But he was still a good coach. Like
Right.
he was a second pair of eyes, and he was very motivating. I knew how to talk to kids and that kind of thing. But and that's the role of a coach. I'm not supposed to know every little thing about fitness at all
Right.
times.
Exactly. Yeah. It's how to get you to do the thing we're trying to accomplish. That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah.
Man, speaking of which, this fits in. I know it's off running here, but we do that all the time. So I had the best snowboard lesson ever last
Oh,
weekend.
okay.
Okay, so
All right.
this is in the afternoon. First of all, I finally got a powder day. Like this last weekend was great.
I
So
heard.
Saturday they had a sunny powder day, and then it dumped more snow overnight. And it was not an epic powder day for real life. For me, it was
Okay.
incredible. We had like 5 to 8 inches, and in some areas it blew and it was hitting like knee deep, and you could just point
Nice.
it through the trees, and it was just great when you found the right spots and everything. And even in
Yeah.
not the right spots, it was still just really enjoyable. So it was a great day. Anyway, so I had a lesson that morning, got through that, got to ride for like an hour and a half hard, and then in the afternoon there was another lesson up. Brooke had it, and so she went and got it, and then she came and ran back inside. She's like, "You have to come do this lesson for me." I was like, "Oh, okay, what's going on?"
Okay.
She's like, I got a kid out there that wants to learn grabs. clearly we're going to go to more than what we were planning on for this one. You got to come join. We're doing a park lesson instead. I'm like, okay, sounds good. But it's a Saturday. I'm like, we don't want to do a park. Can we even see the park? Anyway,
Right.
and then it was about 1 in the afternoon, and it started to it started to get warm too. So it was like
Mm,
anyway, it was a little bit of rain. We were getting kind of wet, but the snow held. Like it was still great snow. So I was talking to this
yeah.
kid. He's 10 years old. He's been snowboarding since he was 3, and he rides 20 days a year. And
Oh, jeez.
he can do double backflips in the trampoline park. So
Whoa.
the kid can throw his body and all that. And he's like, yeah, I really want to learn some jumps. Like I can go off jumps. I'm having trouble getting my grab with this one. And I was like, okay, well, first of all, let's head towards the park. If we can see it, we'll do it. We get up there and like, it's
Yeah.
foggy. Let's not do that. You
Oh,
want to just go
yeah.
throw yourself off stuff? And, like, you want to learn front flips? He's like, yep. I'm like, cool. Let's go learn front flips.
Awesome.
So we went down and we were doing like tame dogs off the cat track. My demo of it was horrible. I was like way too late and basically just rolled over the snow down the thing a few times. He tried to throw one off every bump he could find the rest of the day. Like we're riding
That's
along, he sees a
awesome.
bump, just throwing his body into a front flip over and over and over
Oh,
again.
man.
He landed like 3 out of 100, but he landed a couple that day. And we
That's awesome.
just took him up in the woods and just like went down, and just every time we'd find a bump, like, let's jump off this thing. All right, let's jump off this thing.
Yeah.
And so they give them little tips here and there, but mostly like, we're just gonna have fun and just launch ourselves. And
Man,
anyway,
that sounds amazing.
I'm still sore. Like my neck is killing me from just, basically we just became 2 10-year-olds throwing ourselves
Right.
off everything. It was
Yeah.
so much fun.
Oh, man.
You
I
don't get lessons
miss
like that
that.
very often.
Oh, I bet. And you don't get days where you can do that very
No,
often.
it was the
Like,
perfect day. Like, hey, if you're just gonna throw your body and hope it works, today's the day. So
yeah.
let's go do it.
When we were coming up, I have a memory of getting a lot of those days. I'm sure it wasn't near as many as I remember,
Yeah.
right? But it felt like quite a bit where you could just like, all right, here's anything and just jump off and throw and see what happens and ragdoll and whatever.
But we
Like
rode a lot of
we
silver.
were
Silver does get those days a
mhm,
lot, and so we did
yeah.
have those.
We were young enough also that it just nothing hurt that bad,
I,
right? As
I
long
think
as it was like kind of soft, it was fine.
I think there were days where we treated it like it was really soft, but it wasn't. We were just in our 20s.
Yeah.
So, and you
Yeah.
younger than that actually, but our
Yeah,
bodies are still
I
made of
was just in
rubber.
my teens. I
So
was
you're like,
fine.
yeah, it's soft. It's not concrete, so that's better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember there was like a short period there where I would think I was still in high school. It must be like the year after I learned how to do backflips. I'm like, I remember saying to somebody, I think to dad or somebody, I'm like, I think I can do a backflip, like speaking of snowboarding, off of anything.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like it was just we're up at silver, and I was just hitting like what every little bump there was. I'm like, I think I can flip that too. Like,
right.
let's try,
You just start
And
throwing it everywhere.
if it went awry, then whatever. Like it's
Right.
fine. Like you might face plant, but it's okay. Yeah, I miss doing that.
Yeah.
When we were up there over the weekend, 2 weeks ago, it was nice. Like doing those park laps where like the park was good and the snow
And the
was
park
at
was
least
soft
like
enough where
soft
we could
enough.
actually,
Exactly.
yeah.
By the end of it, like the last run we did, my three off the jump finally felt like it was kind of doable. That was man, that finally hit the feeling of snowboard. And then I'm like, oh right, where you just kind of go and you can just do stuff,
Yeah.
you know. Like I
Yeah.
haven't gotten that in a few years where things just feel comfortable, and I didn't really feel it most of the day. But that last run, I'm like, oh right, this is the feeling that I like,
It was a good enough
like
day that day. Yeah, to where
yeah,
you could push things a little bit and like, yeah, if it didn't work out, it's generally okay. I
when
tested
I
that
just
theory
don't.
a little further by catching a hard edge, but
We had well, and now I mean it's a fun crew to ride with too. So we just had
yeah.
so many. The amount was empty enough, and we're all riding tight enough that it was just like whatever. You just kind of throw yourself
Right.
into stuff, and no one's going to get too hurt, except for you kind of got a little hurt.
A little bit.
Um, but I don't ride enough anymore to usually get comfortable enough
Yeah.
to get that feeling, right? And so it was nice. Like by the end of the day, I'm like, all right, this feels good. This is what I miss about snowboarding, right?
Yeah.
Going
Where
a
you,
lot and feeling comfortable.
yeah, if you can push and you kind of let go a little bit and just kind of let things happen a little bit
Yeah,
more. Like you don't have to be precise. Like
yeah,
it is the best. That
exactly.
was a great day.
So fun. Um, Okay, I got to wrap it up here pretty soon. What's the plan coming up? What's your plan?
I'm reworking the plan. That's just what I'm doing.
Okay, just
So
on the daily, right?
yeah, no. So basically now I'm reworking right now, saying, because it kind of hit me like, oh, I've got 5 weeks. Okay, that has
Oh
to
no.
be. I got to really plan for 5 weeks. So actually, here's what I'm gonna do. We didn't even talk about this at all. Been doing tons of
Okay.
plyometrics, tons meaning once a week,
Right. Right.
and it has made
Me
a
too.
huge difference though. Like
Oh,
it
good.
doesn't take doing that much of those to make a very like my stride is longer, faster speeds are
Yeah.
feeling way more like way less work to go at faster. I'm really comfortable at a much faster pace. And
Yeah.
anyway, it's all and like specifically what I'm doing is I'm doing one-footed box jumps onto a 6 foot on a 6 inch box.
Great.
So doing
Yeah.
1 foot, jump to other foot, and doing like 2 minutes straight. Take a little rest. All right, 2 more minutes, and doing and
Yeah.
like basically doing that twice. Like that's it. So it's a 4 minute workout once a week,
Yeah.
drastically changing my running
Oh,
and
because you're getting some calf focused exercise. You're
not
actually
overdoing
strengthening
it.
up your calves.
And
Yeah.
not overdo it. You're doing just 4 minutes, and explosive
Yeah.
calf too, not like calf leg lifts
Yeah.
and the calf lifts, that can just destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, just know that the bouncy stuff, and then call it good.
Yep.
And so doing that, doing a little bit of box jumps. I've been some kettlebell swings, like just swinging it, all the different directions.
Yeah.
And all those things are really coming together to make a difference. And I'm thinking if I can stay on my plyo stuff
Mm-hmm.
and keep, other issue, I've also been
Yeah.
lifting upper body really hard for like 3 months now, and I'm getting really heavy. And I did feel on
Uh-oh.
my 9 mile run, my arms weighed a lot. Like I'm dragging a lot of weight. Maybe this is a bad idea. Like it literally felt like I was trying to
Really?
drag way more weight than usual.
It
It's
was noticeable.
it was this first time ever that it was noticeable of like,
That's funny.
but I'm almost 20 pounds over my normal running weight. So,
Wow.
yeah. So I'm sitting just shy 175, 155 is my usual running weight. So,
Jeez. Yeah, that's
anyway,
that's substantial. That's
so it
quite a
is
bit.
that it's a lot of weight in a short period of time, and so it is
Yeah.
feeling like a bit. But I don't think so. I think I'm going to back off the pushing the upper body as much as I have. It's just been too much fun, so I just keep doing it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm
Yeah.
going to back off that for 5 weeks of just not push as hard. I don't need to add another
Okay.
5 pounds before Bloomsday, So so
Yeah,
just
that's
gonna
probably smart.
maintain. I'll keep doing it, but I'm not gonna like push that hard at it. And then,
Right.
but I'm gonna do some real hard leg days over the next couple weeks
Mm-hmm.
and keep the plyo going right up till race day. Because I noticed that
Yeah.
2 days before, like actually I can do plyo in the morning and run faster that afternoon. Like it just helps.
Yeah, you should at least do it like day before, 2 days before. Keep your
Yeah.
plyometrics in.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it'll be great to just stay consistent with that. It's not something I plan on backing off on. And
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, outside of that, I think I'm going to rework. I'm going to basically make a new workout plan, saying, okay, here's my current speeds. I'm 5 weeks out.
Yeah.
Now make a new plan. What do I do? And I'll probably
Gotcha.
just
Okay.
keep doing that every week. Keep check in, make a new plan.
Yeah.
Check in, make a new plan.
That's
So
fun. I like it.
yeah,
That's a good approach. I think I'm not really going to change much of anything. As the weather gets kind of nice, I'm going to try to run just outside more.
sure.
But I like because of the time that I have, I usually do my fast intervals, like treadmill intervals after my legs,
Mhm.
which means they're even harder than normal, because I
Right,
just finished doing squats and jumps and plyometrics, and then I go and I try to do like fast intervals, and legs just don't work, right?
right.
But I'm gonna keep that combo because I think working my legs is still good, and then keep my long run, and I'm just gonna run outside as much as I can, and just basically hope for the best.
Right. I think that's at this point we're too late to really change things up. So I think it's mostly like
Yeah.
make sure you're fully recovered 5 weeks from now
Yep.
and see what we can add for a couple weeks push, and then it's time to
Yeah.
back off, and that's what you got to work with.
just keep going and hope we make it, right?
Right. Yeah, we'll probably in the end we'll be hucking this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Okay. Well, I like it. We'll chat
Yeah,
more next week.
sounds like a plan.
All right.
All
Later.
right, see ya.